Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What a Story. I have a dear friend, Dustin Hollings. So, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on, Deej.
Cool. And so, for those who don't know you, like I know you, um,
Yeah.
where are you and what have you been up to?
Well, we know each other from out west, the comedy scene out there, which is now we're old.
Yeah.
And I'm living in my birth city of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Funny side little story there. When we moved here when I was in grade four, we
Yeah.
moved up to Chapleau, and that was when you could forge a note and buy cigarettes, say it was from your mom. So I bought cigarettes and I went and had a smoke. I wasn't inhaling, but I was puffing it. And I
Yeah.
wished to the Lord, I said, hear my prayers. I want to move back to the Sioux. And
There you
it didn't
are.
happen as a kid, but 40 years later, almost basically, I am living in the Sioux. So the old adage, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. That's true. But also, I'm at an age now where I can appreciate living in the Sioux. I appreciate that there's no traffic, that there's beaches everywhere that aren't crowded. Those are the things I appreciate as an adult. But I've been living here for since 2017, since the old man, since my pop popped off.
Okay.
So he left me a house here, and I said, you know what? At the time, gas was cheaper, groceries were cheaper, probably still are compared to out west.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind it at all. I haven't listened to a traffic report since I moved here. They don't even do them.
Let me
The
guess. If a
traffic
car
rush hour
breaks
here
down.
in Vancouver, in Sault Ste. Marie, is two lights.
Yeah.
Wow, I had to wait two lights at that stop today.
Oh, that's cool. All right. So, what are you up to then these days?
These days, sorry, I took a big puff here.
No problem.
I'm working for a First Nation out here.
Oh,
I
cool.
work I work in communications, which
Cool.
it allows me to do a little bit of everything that I've done all my life. Like I do some writing, I do some photography for them. Securing like little deals with communications and stuff like that. And so it's all right. It's I don't know if it'll be my career, but definitely good for the next couple of years for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Um, so tell us the story.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of time to think of it, and I didn't use hardly any of that time that you gave me. But I did have to think about telling a story and storytelling. And my story has two parts, and it starts out in I guess 2006. I was living in Toronto back when clubs and after hours were still going. I wouldn't say they were at their peak, but they were still going.
Yeah.
I probably hard pressed to find one or a cool one now. But I was at this after hours on the Danforth, and you probably remember these when it would be an old business or an old house, but all the furniture was gone and all the light fixtures were gone. Maybe there was a toilet in the back, but that was it.
Yeah.
And they had a DJ in the front and everyone dancing and a little bar at the back. And those would go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning sometimes.
Yeah.
And so this one, and I gotta take a pause here. This story that I'm gonna tell you is the exact same story that I told a friend of mine in Vancouver a few years after it happened. So I'm at this club, music's bumping, nice house beat, which I don't usually like house. I'm a junglist, I'm a rude boy.
Yeah.
But this house beat is going nice and everyone's dancing and having fun. And what I'd never seen before, but apparently is an old school thing, they dumped a bunch of baby powder onto the dance floor. And I said, why? And these girls were like, because you can slide a bit better. It gives you a little bit of dance, so you're not going to roll your ankles. And she
Okay.
goes, and it covers up the BO of everyone that stinks on the dance floor. I go, okay, that's two purposes. That's kind of cool. So I'm getting into it. I'm just like grooving. I'm not on anything. Maybe a couple drinks and a toke or whatever, but I'm enjoying the music. And I start centering in on the saxophone player that's like getting more and more prominent in the track, right?
Yeah.
The house beat's going, and the sax is kind of just hiding in there and coming around, doodle doodle doo doo, like, and I'm like closing my eyes because it sounds so crystal clear, like it's like I got headphones on, you know what I mean? And I can
Yeah.
just hear the saxophone. I'm like, whoa, and I'm just grooving on the saxophone. And I open my eyes, dude, and the guy is there playing it like right in front of my face. Like he's got a saxophone, and I'm like, holy shit. I go, it's you. You're actually here playing this. And he just gave me a wink, and he was still playing, and he started doing some crazier stuff, right? I just thought that was so cool that I could hear that saxophone so crisp. So I told that story exactly like that to a friend of mine in, I don't know, 2009 when I was out there. 5, 6, 7 years later, we're hanging out at his place. He starts telling this story of this after hours that you'd hear the saxophone bouncing around in the beat, right? And he opened his eyes and the guy was right there. And I'm like, I had almost forgot that story at that point. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
why does that sound familiar? Because it was my memory. And and you can't, if that happens to all you storytellers out there, you can't stop them and tell them that it's your memory and your story, because you will look crazy.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, no, that happened to me, dude, and he's already telling it, like they'd be like, Dusty's losing his mind, man. Anytime someone tells a story, he says it's his or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, and the fact that he incorporated that into his memory, I'm not saying he plagiarized my story. In his mind, that happened to him now. And we get older, our memories are not as good as they used to be. So I basically implanted that memory of me in him, and he tells people about his story where he's the guy listening to the saxophone player, right? So I overanalyzed this many times over the years, and I've come to the conclusion that, and everyone else, if this ever happens to you, don't get offended, don't go nuts, just acknowledge the fact that you told the story so well. Someone incorporated that into their own memory. Someone got rid of one of their own memories to put one of yours in there and pretend that it happened to them, you know? And just
Yeah.
take it as a compliment, as you're a good storyteller. You're so good. And that's not the first time that happened, but that's the most prominent time that has happened to me. But I have had other people tell me things that happened, and I was like, no, I wanted to say, no, I told you that 10 years ago. That happened to me 15 years ago. But at the same time, I forget this stuff. I forget shit that happens to me too. So they could eventually tell me my story, and I'll be like, whoa, that's cool. I'll incorporate it into my head, thinking it's me when it was actually me the first time. But
So the moral of your story is recycle.
yeah, yeah. And just don't be offended if you hear one of your own stories come back told to you and it's not you anymore. Just enjoy it. Just
Yeah.
listen to them try and tell your story. Like, unless it's a deeply personal story, like, I was holding my brother while he was dying or some awful thing like that, and you're like, hey, aren't you an only child?
That was a good story.
Thanks,
And
man.
thank
Thanks.
you for sharing.
Thank you.
So, Dustin, where can people find you if they want to?
Nowhere. Nowhere. Sault Ste.
Nowhere.
Marie. We'll go for a drink. I got a room here if you're going passing through town. But
All right.
no real comedy scene here. They do have Russell Peters or some come through every once in a while, Ron James or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I'm rusty. It's been a while. And even like the last time I was hired to do comedy, I didn't feel confident enough that I had a set. So
Oh, okay.
I basically turned it into a storyteller set and said, here's a bunch of stories that I've always found funny or never told anybody. So I had
Yeah.
about 40 minutes. It was good.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, on social media, if anybody wants to find you.
I don't want to be found.
All right. All right. Well, Dustin, it was
But
nice.
join my 20s of Instagram followers and
All right. Well, it was nice sharing your story. Thank you for that.
yeah,
And
they can look me up on YouTube. I think if you put my name in YouTube, there might be still a few clips up. Dustin Hollings,
okay,
uh,
cool. And if they Google
native
you,
comedy one is probably my best one on there. Dustin Hollings, Native Comedy.
All right.
Yeah,
And well, thank you for sharing your story. And I
yeah. Good to
obviously
see you,
will.
DJ.
Good to see you. And I obviously will keep in touch. And I'm probably going to head out west sometime soon with my
Oh,
backpack and my thumb
no
ready to
kidding,
go.
really?
Well, no, I'm actually going to fly, but that's a different story because I'm a high rolling now. No more hitchhiking for me. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right. We'll talk later.
All right. Take care.